I do welcome you to Bible Times. I'm Willard Pless, and we're here to try to help people to understand what the Bible is really talking about and giving us. I don't know if you know and see this or not, but we know that America is the new Babylon for Israel in the last days. Now, when we look at this, we realize back in 608 BC that God had sent Israel into the world to keep his name alive, and he'd work through them, and they would minister to the world. But by 608 BC, Israel as a nation had fallen. They were no longer doing what God wanted them to do, what he had sent them to do. They had been infiltrated by the world. And we can understand that in the scriptures. We know that Balaam kind of helped get that done. He was a false prophet for Israel back then, and taught Balak and the other kings of the world, other nations, how to get Israel to fall is just to get in amongst them with a false thing. And by 608 BC that was done, and God sent Babylon upon Israel because they had fallen. And then we know that about 22 years later, in 586 BC, that they destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. And we're understanding that America is the new Babylon here in end time days. When we come to 2000, we know that Jesus set up the church when he came, and the church was set up by the Jewish people. All the apostles were Jews, and the church was set up through them, and they were to go to all the world. And of course, I know we learn in the Bible that God began to call some Gentile people to minister also in this world. And he set the church up in 33 AD. But see, when we come to 2000, we learn that the church had fallen too. The church is no longer doing what God had sent them to do. And this is when Babylon began to return. And we know that it's coming through America. See, the other time it came from the Mesopotamian area back in Nebuchadnezzar's day. And we learned that Babylon and then the Medes and the Persians, and see that Iran is the Persian area that Babylon came from and went into Israel. And so you can study about all of that. And but when we get to 2000, we see that Babylon starts coming back, but it's not coming from the Persian area, but it's coming from America. America is the new Babylon for Israel. that's has conquered Israel without firing a shot. And the Bible teaches that. In Revelation chapter 6, we learn that the first beast shows John about the white horse and the rider. And see, the rider of the white horse is a beast. And we know that the rider of the white horse is talking about America coming. And America started showing up as the New Babylon after 2000. And we see that. We can very much see that and understand that. That when the Twin Towers were taken down and the New World Trade Center opened, and then we know that in 2017 that Israel was conquered, or 2018 when they celebrated the 70th year of being back, that Israel was conquered by the rider of the white horse. And he didn't use weapons, he used flattery. And that's when the American embassy was moved to Jerusalem and the Abraham Accord began, and you know the story back then. So, see, America is the New Babylon. President Trump is the new Nebuchadnezzar. And God has brought this about because the church had fallen. See, we learn in Revelation chapter 2 and 3 that the church would fall. And by 2000, it was fallen. It started falling shortly after Jesus brought it in, and after Pentecost, and Paul and the apostles seen that. That's the reason that Paul talked about things that was coming. He told Timothy about things that were coming, and he talked about the great falling away. We learned that he talked about that in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, that he talked about the thing that would be coming. And he told Timothy about it as well, and told him to not get caught up in that when it started, for him to not get caught up in it. And see, the church world has been falling ever since it first began, ever since 33 A.D. See, the Ephesus church left its first love, and that's when it began. That's when the church world turned in on itself to promote itself. Instead of lifting Jesus up to the world, the church world started turning in on itself to promote itself. And you know that's true. I mean, you can look at back what the churches have taught for years. They taught you get in here and you join the church and you support the church and you love the church, and it didn't teach about really loving Jesus and lifting him up and letting the flesh part away. But the church world started teaching you go for the flesh stuff and promoting the flesh stuff. And the Bible definitely teaches that. This is the time that we're living in. I don't know if you can see this or understand this or not, but I'm just sharing it today because I can see it very clearly that that America is the Babylon, the new Babylon that will return in the end time days, and the Bible teaches that. And see, in 586 BC that they destroyed Jerusalem and the temple. And we learned that in January of 2025 that this same thing's going to happen, that Israel's going to be flooded. And the Bible teaches that the city will be destroyed and the holy place too. We know that the holy place is there on the mountain, the wall. I know they keep talking about a temple coming back, but see, the Bible teaches that that President Trump will set up his palace there on the holy mountain. It won't be the temple of God, but it'd be the palace for the end time man that the Bible gives us, that we learned as President Trump. And he's the leader of this new Babylon. And it started coming back in 2000 when the Twin Towers were taken down and the new World Trade Center opened up, and then he showed up in Israel's 69th year of being back. And Daniel chapter 9 teaches that Messiah the Prince would show up when Israel was back for 69 years. See, God sent them back to rebuild the land, rebuild Jerusalem for this time. And they have done that. And when they were back 69 years, then the beast would show up, which we learned is President Trump. And he showed up and came about in 2017. Of course, 2018 is when he went in and conquered Israel without firing a shot. And the Bible says that he would be given a crown. And he was given the crown in 2023. He was given the crown of Jerusalem in 2023. So we're getting close here to these things coming about. And that's what's happening here as we're getting down to the end of September here in 2025. That we know that there's not going to be a new budget. In other words, the economy is going to crash and everything's going to start falling apart. And we know that in November, after November the 22nd, that Israel's going to turn off President Trump. And then in January, this is when they're going to flood Jerusalem and destroy the city and the sanctuary. The Bible says that they will destroy the city and the sanctuary. And see, after this is done, this is when Jesus returns. He will be returning soon. We don't know the day or the hour, but we can know the time, and this is the timing. This is what we're seeing. Jesus taught that you could know the timing and the season, but you couldn't know the day or the hour. He taught that in Matthew 24. So we don't know the day and the hour when things will really happen, but we can know the timing. We can know in January that this is going to come upon Israel again. That this new Babylon is going to destroy the city and the sanctuary. And that's the wall. And we know President Trump's going to build his palace there on the holy mountain. The northern nations are going to push back on him, and the southern nations as well. And so you can read all this in the scriptures. Go to Daniel chapter 11, and this is talking about President Trump's coming back, and read that chapter and you'll understand that what's going to happen this time and what's coming upon him this time. And I hope you'll do that and stay with us on these studies. We're going to be talking about more. And so God bless you, and you have a great day.